Hi everyone, my name is Juan Zavaleta, and in this video you will be watching our Ingraham High School students participate in a student-led initiative in where they are addressing microaggressions at our school, and they're all supported by the Risk and Equity team here at Ingraham. In the video you'll also watch 3 individuals share their thoughts on why they joined the initiative and their thoughts on leadership. I hope you enjoy.
I chose to do this initiative because I knew that I had a really strong voice when it came to leadership skills and speaking up and holding accountability for myself and other people. And I also thought it was necessary to use my Indigenous aspect on topics because it's often overlooked and forgotten about when we do talk about other ethnic groups or cultural backgrounds. And I think it's important that we do have a wide range of kids and students from all different backgrounds so we can all come together as a community as we should and help one another and educate one another rather than having someone else do it for us.
I don't want to see a lot of staff leading anymore. I want to see more students lead. So we have a good amount of students here leading things. So this is great, but how much, we have a lot of students. So this is just a very, very small group of students who have decided to lead or who knew about this opportunity. But I want to encourage every student to use their voice because I believe that everybody has a piece of leadership in them. It may not lead the same subject matter, but everybody has something in them to lead. And so I think that if we as adults encourage students to do that and we really back them up and really support them and not try to manipulate or try to hover over, I think that students will feel empowered. And so the way that I want to lead is by 1, being an example, but 2, encouraging students and saying, hey, your voice counts. There are no extra people. Everyone has a voice, everyone matters, and everyone counts. I'm going to ask you this question again. What is a microaggression? And somebody other than Amelia and Kayla. What is a microaggression? I just gave it to you. You're going to need to be able to say this. You're going to need to be able to tell this to your teachers. So what is it? Tell me. I'm not your teacher, but I'm an adult, so just talk to me. Go ahead.
It's a statement, action, or incident that indirectly or subtly and very intentionally targets a group of people that's not white.
Yeah, give her stuff. Give her stuff. All right. Freshmen. Yeah, let's do snaps, because claps are,
Yeah, okay. And
Freshmen, step your game up. You're in here because I think you have something valuable to give, which there's no question about that part. But speak up. This is a place for you to exercise and illuminate your voice. No one can do that better than you. I can't do it for you. It's your place to do it for you. I don't want anybody to ever speak for me and say something for me. I will say it the best for me because I know me, right? I know my makeup. I know what I think. I know the way I want to convey things. So this is a way for you to exercise your voice and also to learn about your voice, right? What you really believe in and what you have to ask yourself, why do I believe in that? Question yourself, right? So everybody doesn't have to speak up front in front of everybody, but when we're in here, this is our time to get real and raw and have these conversations, right? So you're safe in here to speak because I want to hear what you have to say. And you never know where that will take you, okay? So y'all step your game up.
For me personally, it looks like many things because I've seen people who wouldn't consider themselves leaders, but I think that they are in their own way. I think it can be leading by example, so just doing what you know is right and having other people see that and follow that. Or it can be using your voice to help speak for other people, articulate what they want to say. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Okay, for the third question, what type of, or I mean, not the third, the second question,
Yeah.
what ideas do you guys have?
point?
Yeah, that's
I
why-
kind of I kind of was thinking like
Absolutely, I think that's
like
an idea.
I know
Or
most of
even,
the staff is white, but there are also a lot of like staff of color
I'm sure that,
who could have also
or pictures.
experienced microaggressions from
you know,
like other staff members
Or students.
or students. Yeah. So I think like
that,
we could ask like how many of you have experienced microaggressions?
And then like
Keep
call
going,
on
keep
them, be
going,
like, how that
you're
make you
good.
feel.
Yeah, how did that make you feel?
Oh, Maria needed a minute.
I agree with that. I think
Okay,
the
well,
only
it's okay.
I wouldn't want a white staff member to raise their hand.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's the
We
only
could just not
question.
call on them.
But that's what it is
Yeah,
like they'll
so
raise
keep
their hand, right?
discussing
They
it.
hear our presentation
And then
then
whatever you come up with when
and that like
she-
is an internal conversation.
Excuse me,
we gotta
when she
have.
comes back, you guys can say, what do you
Yeah.
think about this? What do you think?
That's
Okay?
true. That's true. We can do that.
We don't want anything to fall on one person. You are in this together. Not you.
I feel as if disrupting the development and leadership is kind of exciting to me because I feel like it's finally the opportunity where our youth and the students can voice their opinions and voice what's necessary in order to change the school, because as a community it's not really functioning as a way a community should work where everybody shares their input and be engaged with one another rather than having like a hierarchy or like only the teachers are the ones that are right in the situation when we're in a generation now where students and youth are more important than ever using their voices in order to develop new structure for the way the world should work and school should work.
Leadership to me looks like serving. I think in order to lead, you have to be willing to serve people and meet people where they're at. I think people think that in order to be a leader, you have to be perfect, right? You have to have this persona. And most leaders are flawed, just like everybody else. They have their issues. And so I think when it boils down to leadership, it's about more so walking the walk and talking the talk. So I always tell the students that I work with, I'm not going to require anything of you that I'm not willing to do myself. So if I'm not willing to do it, if I'm not willing to put myself out there, if I'm not willing to correct myself, or, if I'm not willing to do the work, then I can't expect that of you. And I think that's what a good leader does. It shows first, like, hey, this is a part of who I am. These are the characteristics that I want to display when I'm around people. And so I feel like I need to live that life and lead that way. And serving students and staff in this way is going to be important. But I think leaders serve first. They give. And they give without requiring anything in return other than change, right, from the person. But I mean, it's not tit for tat, if that makes sense.
It doesn't matter. You're doing enough putting in right now. As long as the presentation's done, if anything, if I
And you're
have to
not
be the only
doing
one
it
up there
alone,
talking,
you know
that's
what I'm
fine.
saying? I mean, look at right next to you.
Yeah,
Everyone else is
Caleb's
gonna be
gonna
there
want to.
supporting
Boom,
you.
there's 3 people already who would be down.
Yeah,
It is not your responsibility to teach these people, literally. It's not anyone's responsibility but their own. So only put in what you're willing to put in, because if you don't want to, you don't have to. No one's, yeah.
I'm just scared.
Okay, so the intro.
Who better than to ask than the actual people that are in this building living these things daily? Who better than, to get advice from? Who better than to hear stories from? Because when you realize that what you're going through, you're not the only one going through it, then you feel less isolated. You feel less alone, and then you're more inclined to build community. And that's what we want to do here. We want to not just change the community, but we want to build the community, right? And we want to build student voice. And the way that we do that is by enhancing student voice so that students know, hey, I'm not in this by myself. And that is my goal, is to change the environment here at Ingraham. And so that when people come here, they know there's a culture of awareness. There's a culture of love and respect for all different kinds of ethnicities, all different kind of backgrounds, no matter where you come from, no matter what your belief is, that we all can be under this building respectfully to one another.
Okay, what would you, so after the
I don't know, 'cause I feel like
question
it's
that
hard to
when we
just
ask them,
avoid
is there
microaggressions when
any
you
activity that you would want?
I don't know
there.
how are they
Right.
supposed to how are they supposed
Do
to
you want them to
avoid
tell each
them?
other?
Yeah, you just be living life, and then it just like happens in daily conversation.
Right.
So it relies more on like the other
Be
person.
opposed.
Usually like
Yeah.
take the time to actually like actively like be in like a constant state of
Okay,
learning.
so.
Yeah, maybe like for
after- so
yourself
after we
to
ask
educate
them,
yourself
yeah,
too.
and then
So
share.
like you can know what to say when that happens. Like not have to second
just saw because I'm on the true. I just maybe like I'm going crazy. Like is this what I'm seeing?
Okay, now we have to figure out how do we present that way.
I can definitely speak on my indigenous community because I'm really trying to influence the school and trying to acknowledge creating a land acknowledgement for Ingram, which is what I'm working on right now in order to voice indigenous students because again they're often overlooked or alienated, or we only learn about indigenous culture in the context of history, trauma, depression, colonization, genocide, all that stuff. So I'm trying to voice an indigenous opinion and a beautiful aspect and learn about new heroes and sheroes in the curriculum of indigenous activists.
Yeah, whitewash, because my mom was me. And have you ever had this? Because it was on Chinese New Year. Oh yeah, are they considered? What is that? And it's hard because it's a double-sided coin, right? Because it's you don't want people to be oh, you can't have your race, right? Because you can't. But at the same time, there's also that cultural appropriation aspect. So it's kind of hard to differentiate. Because you'll have some white kids acting ghetto, and then people say you're acting black, but that doesn't. Ghetto doesn't mean black. Yeah. It's you come from a certain part of a neighborhood or a barrio or anything. That's where you come from, and I think people confuse that with race because it is racialized, but it's just confusing. Yeah, it confuses me. Where they came from. Right, because some white people are from.
Students have the right to know and want to know about what they're learning, what they should be learning, and it's important as a high school that we educate students on important topics and the right topics while also holding accountability and disrupting the Western education style and learn something new, I feel like.
I would say necessary, though, would be the most important word to me out of all those words because we can't keep moving in the direction that we've been moving. It's not working, obviously. And so I'd say that we're, in many ways, the school district is trying, but I don't feel like there's enough accountability and enough forward movement. Everybody wants to live in this space where, well, this is a great idea or this is how I feel, but there's not a lot of action that happens behind it. And so if you know that all of these things are happening in schools, well, knowing is only half the battle. So now that you know, you have to do. So action is the next step. And so, I feel good about it, but it's definitely necessary.